Okay guys, how you all doing, my lovelies? Hope you are all well on this fine day. So this is take 2. I had my microphone plugged in. I did my entire almost 20-minute voiceover. It was showing as recording. Got to the end, saved it, and it is completely blank. Because apparently my microphone needs charging. Yay! So this is take 2. Hopefully I don't miss bits out because I had useful information in the first one. So today's set is an autumn set with chrome details and nude nails. It is a cute design which is easy to achieve, can be quick depending on the design you're using, and looks really cute and adds that added little bit of sparkle to a nail if you are short on time, or if you're not confident in more complex designs. So I am going in today with a layer of Pampers Blush, which is a 5-in-1 builder gel from Brush on Luxe. I recently posted a mini short about the sale they were having. They don't have many of the £1 gels left, but they do still have a clearance section, and there still is cut price gels in there, including the builder gels. So I'm doing 2 layers of this because I am only doing thin layers. There's not any real need for me to build an apex on these nails because obviously they're not on my nails. So you want to go in and remove the tacky layer. Now you have 2 options here. You remove the tacky layer and then you go in with the matte top coat because we're going to be chroming. I am choosing to buff just to fill out any ridges in this nail because I didn't flip them all and I was very quick to pop them in, so I didn't let them smooth out. Now if I am using builder gel or an acrylic, so if I was doing this design straight onto one of those 2, I would be buffing the nail anyway just to make sure it's perfectly smooth for that client. So this saves you a layer of product, and it's something I'd be doing anyway, so I am going straight onto a buff nail. So you want to start your line, and this is going to go up towards your cuticle, so the thicker end of your stick wants to be right near the tip of that nail. And then we are slightly away, we're drawing our leaf shapes. Now your leaf shapes do not need to be exact. You can do as many or as few as you want. And you just want to pull them to a point, and just remember, use the very tip of your brush on the base to pull that down to give you tiny little stalks. Now, as a word of advice on these nails, I did use a brand new buffer to buff these nails. So they have left slightly deeper scratches than I would have liked, and I found my paint dragging and in some areas bleeding. Now, a gel paint should not bleed and should not move, but I'm assuming it is the scratches in the nail. So if you're going to buff over for a chrome design, you are best to use an older, softer buffer, which is pretty much useless for anything else, but it will be perfect for chrome. Because when you're fine line painting, you do want that flat surface, which is why it's normally done on matte top coat. But a really smooth surface from an old buffer will give you the same results. So as many or as few leaves as you want. I always like to cap my branch with one at the end. Now my brush was not behaving today. I do end up switching. It was a day for it yesterday, so I got a little bit of time yesterday, so I recorded this yesterday and I'm voiceovering today. So I have flash cured the other side, so there was no whoopsies. Now I did make a whoopsie here, so I didn't position my leaves very well on this side. I've put them side by side with the branch and they needed to be pointing outwards slightly, so Just take note of that if you follow this design. Your leaves do not need to be side by side like that. So the reason I'm voiceovering today is because yesterday it was a chaotic house, but the sourdough starter that I've been learning to make was also ready. So I was doing a lot of folding every half an hour of my bread. So I was up and down from the nail table, and if I'd have left the nail table to fold for a few minutes, by the time I came back I would have forgotten where I was if I was voiceovering as I was recording. So we're doing it this way. And then you just need to, so when you're pulling back, you want the very, very tips of your brush to give you that tiny little branch. You don't need any product on your brush, you can just use what is in the leaves. And if you need to correct any shapes, do so. Now, while that's curing, I'm showing you a selection of chromes. So mine is all going to be in bronzes, golds and coppers. And I have 2 different palettes with varying shades. And then this little pot I have 2 or 3 of. It is a bronze, like chameleon chrome that has like golds and oranges in it. I picked it up from Temu. I actually ended up going back on and ordering another couple of these pots because I have also mixed them with a top and a base coat, and I have used them as a shimmery layer of polish under a jelly layer to make amber nails and things like that, and they give a beautiful, beautiful shimmer. So any colours, anywhere. You could run half up the nail with one and then finish it with another. I've done 2 separate colours, one for each branch. We'll just give that a little dust off. And these are the steps we're going to be following for the rest of the nails. They'll just all be different designs. So do you see here how even though my brush is loaded with paint, the line was a little bit, it wasn't smooth. It was a little bit draggy. And that is the buffer I was telling you about. And the surface of the nail. So for fine line drawings and fine lines like that, you do need a very smooth surface, but it also needs to be matte. So for instances like this, it does show why a matte top coat may be more useful than the buffing. Now this one just follows the same steps as the previous nail. You can also, if you're not sure where to lay out your leaves, you could also put a dots of gel up the stem where you're going to have them to map them out. You can also use a dotting tool, which you will see me use slightly further along the video. I love that we're finally back around to the autumn sets, but I don't know where this year's gone. I mean, and I know it's obviously been 9 months since last Christmas, but it doesn't feel it. The years as you get older really do seem to rush by. And I used to laugh when older people used to say that to me, you know, best time of your life is when you're at school, don't wish your life away, don't waste it. And then as you're getting older, you're like, shit, they were right. Time really does move faster. So this nail I have left in the video. I just wouldn't advise following it. Now this is where I changed my brush over, but I changed for a skinnier one, which makes my life even harder. I'm not sure what I was trying to achieve. I know I wanted longer leaves, but quite frankly, it looks like I've made a fecking palm tree leaf. I do not like it. I did think about wiping it off, starting all over again. But then I thought, you know what? I've come this far. We'll just carry on. So I would advise sticking to the other styles of leaves. Unless you can find a way to prettify this and make it less, for lack of a better term. I mean, a stick of wheat would look cute, you know, with the little nestled bits and then the little spiky hairs. But this one just looks like a demented palm tree frond. I just don't know at all. So this one, apart from the thumb, was my absolute favourite layout. And it's a top and bottom, and it just looks really, really pretty. It leaves the centre of the nail open. It frames it, so you could leave it blank, you could put something in. I just think it frames really, really nicely. So the way the dots work, you lay out your dots, and then you pull a line from the centre to get it where you want it, and then you curve the outsides around to give you that leaf shape, or just plain curve your outsides and miss the middle step. Either works. Now you can change the shape of your leaf this way as well. So at the base, you see me pull out the tiny little stalk to connect to the plant, but you could also pull out your leaf that way. So you know, like at the top where you're bowing out to pull up, you could do the same on the bottom and drag it downwards a little thicker from either side, and that would give you really nice diamond shaped leaves rather than the rounded bottom shaped leaf. But this is a good way to map out where you're wanting them and where they're going to be, because then you're not going to overcrowd your plant. You already know where everything is. So now this thinner little brush is working nicer than the other one. It's just making my life a little harder because it is so thin. This is one I usually just use for fine line designs or outlining things. Do you see how pretty that one looks with just that top and that bottom frame? I think an entire set of just those would look beautiful. Now this one, I thought I had pressed record and was going to press stop, and then yeah, that is not what happened. So I filled some of the gaps on some of them with little stars, and one thing my superfine brush is very useful for is the stars. So I do my 4s and then I fill in my other 4s. I just had to pause then and run off. I saw the time and that bread was supposed to be put into a lowered oven a good 15 minutes ago. Honestly. And then my dots. I don't know where I picked up the habit of dotting with my stars, but I like it, so I kept it. And then after everything is cured, pick your chromes. You could use multiple colours on one branch, you know, for like the changing of the colours in autumn. And you don't even have to use the bronzes and the golds like I have. I have seen these sets on Pinterest. Don't know if I said that in this video or the last failed voiceover. In like pinks and greens and reds, and they've got like little snakes on the designs. I've also seen them do stars like mine, slightly bigger, and then in the centre they've put a matching gemstone colour. So I've seen them like with pink chrome stars with a neon pink gem in the middle. Looks really, really cute. But I just wanted more autumny shades. It's always my favourite time of year. I like the gemstone and the jewel colours, you know, like the deep purples and the emerald greens and the bronzes and the coppers and the golds. I mean, I'm born in February. You'd think I'd like the springy wintry colours, but I'm definitely a gemstone person. So when you have chromed and then dusted off, brilliant tip, you want to take a clean sponge applicator or a clean makeup sponge and then rub over that as well again, and you would be surprised what it actually brings off. And it's a great way to get the chrome off the flat of the nail, because there's always those odd little specks. See this one, can you see around the star? That was buffed to high heaven, but there was still little clingers. But now there is none, because they will automatically stick to that pristine sponge. And it gives you a nice clean base. So a good tip for this section, I am going straight in with a top coat because obviously I'm not going to be wearing these for long. But sometimes your top coat can wear, especially if you are heavy-handed. So a good tip is to cover this design first with either a layer of base gel, rubber base, builder gel, hard gel, or a very, very thick top coat, and then flip it to give you that little bird apex, and then nuke it, and then go in with your top coat. That extra layer seals in your design. If you don't like ridges and your gel pin is slightly raised, it will fill that out completely and smooth it. But if you catch your top coat or it wears a little from heavy use, then you have that as a backup, and you are not going to end up with beautiful nails with little black patches where your top coat has worn out and your chrome has come off. So I'm just flipping that because I put quite a lot of top coat on that. And there we go. A lovely, lovely chromey autumn design. So I hope you give it a try. Change the colours, change the leaf patterns. Please don't do a palm tree. And thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, I would super appreciate a like or a subscribe if you're wanting to watch more videos, and hit the notification bell. And I will let you all know how the sourdough bread goes. Bye, guys.